Hello, we're continuing our conversation about government and the Constitution. So, today we're going to talk about the Constitution and the public good, and specifically, we're going to talk about effective government. We are in the textbook, Holt American Government. You can find a more updated version of this textbook at the National Emergency Library or the National Emergency Archives. So, we're talking about effective government. More than 200 years have passed since Madison made his argument that the Constitution would help government promote the public good. Has the government fulfilled Madison's hopes? The fact that representative government in the United States has thrived more than 2 centuries is evidence that the Constitution has worked well. It has proved successful in protecting the individual rights of U.S. citizens. Although the country still faces many challenges, it has grown stronger and more prosperous. Some critics, however, charge that the Constitution sometimes makes it difficult for government to promote the public good and function effectively. They argue that forming a majority from among the Republic's many diverse opinions in pursuit of any policy, even a policy that promotes the public good, is too difficult. Even when such a majority exists, the Constitution limits the majority's ability to work effectively. These critics point to two major problems that can make effective government difficult under the Constitution: gridlock and avoiding responsibility. Gridlock. Some people believe that the Constitution's design promotes gridlock, a term that usually refers to a traffic jam in which cars and other vehicles cannot move. Political gridlock occurs when the legislative process comes to a standstill because the political opponents block each other's efforts. In 1995 and 1996, for example, a Republican-led Congress and Democratic President Bill Clinton hit gridlock over the federal budget. They disagreed over tax cuts, how and when to balance the federal budget, and the funding of programs for health, education, and the environment. After weeks of debate over the budget, Congress and the President still could not resolve their differences. Eventually, lacking funds ordinarily provided by the budget, the federal government partially shut down twice for a total of 27 days. Thousands of federal workers, 770,000 during the first shutdown and 280,000 during the second, were told not to report to work. Many people around the country began to question the government's ability to keep the nation running smoothly. They criticized both the president and Congress, saying that their disagreements should not have led to a paralysis of the government. And just a little FYI, this has become more common. The government has shut down a few times since then. This has happened in 2013 and in even the more recent past as well. Avoiding responsibility. Other critics say that the Constitution makes it too easy for government leaders to avoid responsibility for failed policies and other problems. In a democracy, elected officials should be held responsible for how effective they have been during their term in office. In a system with checks and balances, however, voters often cannot decide whom to hold responsible. Because of this, one branch of government at times blames another for inaction or the wrong action. Think about the debate over federal spending. Many people believe the federal government spends too much money or spends it in the wrong way. Whom should they hold responsible for that spending? The Constitution gives Congress the responsibility of passing laws that provide funds for federal government projects, but a president may sign or veto such laws. So both Congress and the president are responsible to varying degrees for how much money the government spends and for what purpose. The shared responsibility makes it hard to pinpoint where the blame for excessive or unnecessary spending rests and what action should be taken to avoid similar problems in the future. Avoiding responsibility can make the government less effective. Rather than make difficult but needed spending cuts, for example, some leaders might prefer to blame others for government's failure to bring spending under control. Voters, however, have the power to question the actions of their elected officials. If the president argues that Congress spends too much money or spends it irresponsibly, or if Congress charges that the president has created costly and unnecessary programs, voters can ask each side to explain why it did not take steps to block the other's actions. After examining the issue, voters may determine that neither the president nor members of Congress were acting responsibly. The voters then can elect other people whom they believe will act more responsibly. In the end, it is the citizens in a democracy who must decide whether the government they have chosen is serving the public good and then take action accordingly. So that wraps up our conversation about the public good, and we will be moving on to more specific things that the Constitution says in future videos. So until then, I hope you guys stay safe. I miss you, and I'm looking forward to see you soon. Take care. Bye.